everybody? This is the Growing Pains Podcast. My name is Jordan Wood, and I'm here with
Big Z.
So I just want to say, from the get-go, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I'm going to be saying, my aspect on a lot of things. He'll be saying his. I want to put a disclaimer out there from the get-go that, look, nobody is right, nobody's wrong. I believe in things, and I'm going to explain why I believe in them. We're going to have guests on throughout the episodes. This is the first one. We'll get our little stories out there and all that. But look, you might not agree with the things I say.
Or even with the things that I say.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, come on a podcast. That's what we want.
We'll talk about it.
That's what we want. Because look, there's things that shape me to be who I am. There's things that shape Z to be the way he is.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to put out there. And the biggest thing is, look, you don't have to agree with me. I could care less if you agree with me. I feel like more people probably don't agree with me, especially because of today's society, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But I'll give you a quick story about myself, the backstory. I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm currently 27 years old. I graduated from Muhlenberg High School. I was the first kid in my family, my dad's family, and my mom's family to graduate high school and go to college.
Okay.
I was the first to get kicked out of college.
That's
also
exciting.
Yeah, I was the first to get kicked out of college also, you know what I mean? But where I grew up, there was a lot of, different ethnicities and everything. So I got all of that in my life. I played all sports. I moved to South Jersey in 2017. I met my wife. I have a son who's 7 months old, Ashton.
Congrats.
I love both of them with all my heart. I got a full-time job. I'll tell you all about that at some point here. But that's basically just the basics. I mean, just the small stuff. I don't know if you want to give your backstory a little bit.
Absolutely. So I grew up here in South Jersey pretty much my entire life. I went to Overbrook High School.
Great high school, right?
Oh man, I can't even remember where the library's at in there. I've never been there. Library there. I don't even think they got a library. But I played football for a couple years there. I know as most of you guys may know me, I am 6'7", 350 pounds. So yeah, I am a D1
linebacker, defensive end, something like that. Least.
And
we're here though.
Yeah, we're here. Life's good right now. And
what do you got going on now? What's going on now, like in your life? I mean, we got obviously where we're from and all that, but right now, you got anything good going on?
So right now in my life, I am working on trying to buy another house next year.
Another house?
Yes.
So you got one house?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I bought a house 2 years ago. I was 22 years old, and I completely remodeled the entire house when I bought it. I went through all the motions of buying a house, and I am ready to grab another one. So
invest.
Yes, invest. Real estate.
Just trying to grow. Is that your goal, to do real estate, or are you trying to?
It's definitely one of my goals. I would love to do real estate, like on the side, like big time. But it's a work in progress. Like I said, I got one now. Once I get the second, that's progression right there.
That's it. Once we get these 100,000 subscribers, we get this the third, the fourth, and the fifth.
Absolutely,
it's all good stuff. You got a lot.
Well, how about you, Jordan? You got a house, right?
I do got a house. I bought it. I bought it in 2017. I was 24 when I bought it. I bought it with my wife.
Okay.
It's in both of our names. Everything I got is hers. That's why I got married, or I wouldn't have done that. I got my LLC this year. Wood Family Enterprises. We got the podcast going on. I'm currently trying to grow a brand, and I'm being a dad. And that's it. I got a full-time job. I run a collision center. I love that. That's like 50, 60 hours a week. So, and now we got this going on. So there was something you said, before. You were saying about lessons you learned like at a young age.
Okay.
What's one of them? I know a couple myself. But if you want to go into what you have.
So some lessons that I learned when I was younger were, growing up, I figured that I would always have my small clique of friends that I've always had from the get-go. And to be honest with you, growing up, everybody tells you that you lose friends along the way, but I never really imagined it to be how it really is because, I had friends that I never thought that would ever not be as close as we were, and we all separate. Everybody grows.
Yep.
They go. You're great friends with somebody, and then the next year, you don't talk to them as much.
I heard a quote. It was everybody has day one friends and everybody has day two friends.
Yes.
And the biggest thing with your day one friends is they kind of keep you in the past.
Yes.
You have the memories with them. You have all the stupid stuff you did when you were younger, and then you have your day two friends who you met, maybe when you were more professional, or say your day two friends if you're playing NCAA basketball.
Right.
Those are your friends that are trying to get you to the next level in that. So your day two friends are kind of, pumping you up for the future,
right.
Whereas your day one friends can take you back to who you were.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
no
who you
longer
were becoming
anymore, right?
Yeah. So that was, I don't know. I got a million different quotes that
right.
we'll be able to read off. But no, that's a good lesson. I mean, when you talked about that, I thought about one thing when I was growing up, which really, I think shaped my life,
mm-hmm.
like my relationship, my work, everything. When I was younger, I was probably 15, 16 years old, I got cheated on.
Oof.
And it broke, me, mentally, everything.
Yeah.
It was just bad. But the biggest thing with me is loyalty, to my job, to my girl, to my friends. I don't want anything bad to happen to any of them.
Right.
And that was a lesson that, thankfully, I learned that because who knows, I could have been out here running around, I would never have the life I have today if that didn't happen. Yep. And back when I did music, which is part of, me growing up that I didn't put in there.
Yeah.
I said something.
And we'll get into a little bit of a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But I said something, sometimes the worst things that happen in your life end up being the best things to happen in your life.
I completely agree with that.
In the moment, you think my world's crumbling, but once you get past it, it makes you stronger, man. It's like working out. It's never fun working out.
Yeah.
But
once you
got that six pack, you're like, this is
I can hit the gym twice a week, no problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's one of my biggest things in life is just when you get knocked down, you get back up, you roll with the punches.
Absolutely.
Last week, man, we're going through this competition at my work right now. I'm driving into work and I get this heart pain. I know what it is because I went to the doctor for it when I was 15. They said, you have anxiety. I'm like,
everybody
you want to take
Earth got anxiety.
They said, do you want to take medicine? I'm like, nope.
No.
Because I knew what it was, and that's you got to be mentally strong.
You got to break out of that shell.
You got to be mentally strong in life, and I think that's the biggest thing is pushing through, and you just gotta roll with the punches.
Yeah, you do.
We're gonna get off topic on everything.
Everything.
I feel like I could probably dig into me a little bit more.
I could definitely dig into myself.
So where did you go to high school again?
I went to Overbrook High School in Pine Hill.
Did you go to college?
I did not go to college. I actually went to a technical school.
Okay.
When I got out of high school, I was really big into dirt bikes and quads and stuff. So I was always working on dirt bikes.
Yeah.
I was rebuilding engines. Doing a whole
handyman. You want to use your hands.
Exactly. So I ended up going to Penco Tech for diesel mechanic. Bad idea.
Yeah.
But hey, it got me where I am today. I'm not mad about it. But
you got a good position right now. We do work in the same company.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So I've seen Z go from the diesel mechanic to now he's wearing a polo.
Now I'm in the office.
So he's using the brains more and the hands less. So no, that's big time. Did you always want to work with cars, dirt bikes, things like that, or?
I loved it when I was younger. Honestly, when I did it without a job of doing it, I had so much fun doing it. But once it turned into a job and you do it every single day, it's not the same. You don't enjoy it like you did.
Yeah.
You don't get to work on what you want to work on. You're working on what they're giving you because that's what you need to do. You need to make money doing it.
Exactly. So. I just talked to somebody that used to work with us, and he went and he's working for another collision center still. Thankfully, he still talks to me. He doesn't hate me. That's normally what happens. They leave, and we're the bad guy.
Yeah.
But he told me, he said, I'm trying to get into more of the custom work just because that's,
and
you kind of have to have fun.
Though.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Look, you came in the right way and you got to the position you're in, and that's, that's the way life worked out for you. But you made the decision also to say, I want to get out of this.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of people just live in shit misery.
And that's I'm gonna pull us back.
I love
That's to what I mean by breaking out of that shell. You know, when you're comfortable with something, you're doing the same thing every single day. You're extremely comfortable with it, and you got to break out of that shell. You got to be able to learn how to talk to people and learn how to do different things other than just what you're doing. You know?
Look, I mean, I like I said, we were going to talk about how I made music when I was younger. I was recording music when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, and I have some videos. Maybe we'll throw a clip in on the podcast for everybody. But look, I'm 14 years old, and I'm in the club with 25, 30-year-old grown adults, women, men, everything.
Right.
And, you know, my mom, thankful for my mom, took me to all these clubs, bars, and everything. But, man, I was scared shitless. Every time before I would perform when I was younger, I'd go take a piss before. Because I got so nervous. Like, I got to go do something. But, look, I broke out of the shell. Now, I feel like I could talk in front of 1,000 people, 10,000 people if I had to.
I'm not that good yet. But
yeah, but you'll get there. You'll get there.
I'm working on it.
Oh, this could get in front of 10,000 people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'm hoping we hit the 100,000.
I love it. I love it. So, I wanted to talk about something. Should we get into this already? Would you have anything else you want to say about you? Like, what's your overall outlook on life? That's a deep question.
Ooh,
and I didn't think we'd get that deep.
That's
but,
deep
like,
right
I kind of know where I want to go, and it kind of leads into what I've been wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
But, like, what's your, like, overall goal, maybe?
My overall goal in life would probably be, so this is going off topic a little bit, but so I don't like to set myself back at all, right?
Yeah.
But I have a reality goal, and then I have a dream goal.
You gotta go for the dream.
Exactly, always. So my dream goal would be to retire my entire family. You know, mom, dad, I would love to retire them, pay off everything that they own, you know, just no hardships anymore.
I think people lose their dream goal too early.
They do. Absolutely they do.
Like, I have a family now. I have my son. I have my wife. And it's easy for me to say, I'm content. Look, I make good money. I could say, hey, this is life. Let me settle down here. You know what I mean? But what type of life is that?
Yeah, I hear you. A lot of people, once they're content, they don't want any more. And it's hard to make somebody want more when they're content.
So I think I feel like you can't lose sight of the dream goal in life. Like, look, there's going to be points where you're like, damn, man, this probably isn't going to happen. But you always got to say, like, you can never say it's never going to happen. I know I said you got to say it's never going to happen. I'm talking out both sides of my ass a little bit there. But, like, you got to always say, like, you always got to have hope that this could come. You got to do things like, look, I'm trying to build a brand. We're doing a podcast. No matter what, we're still shooting for those goals. Like, look, I want to make my family financially stable, obviously. What is that? I could already be financially stable, but I want to be financially stable to the point where if it's raining here, I can go down to the Caribbean.
Yes.
If it's snowing here, I can go down to Florida. You know what I mean? If my wife wants something, she can get it. I feel like that is my main goal. Like really, I want to build a brand. I want to build something. Hopefully, we can build this to the sky. In the future, one thing that we're going to be doing, which is super exciting, by the time we get to the 3rd, 4th episode, we are going to be doing a live podcast at a local bar, more than likely.
Yep, and everybody better be there.
Yeah, we have a couple different spots to choose from. Our main goal, though, is to do the live podcast. We'll have, some viewers can come by. We'll have some friends there popping in, talking about their aspects on life. Yep. And we're also going to have a drink at every one of these live podcasts that we're going to have the bar provide. And 10% of that purchase is going to get donated to a charity of each time. So one of our the ads, one of the promoters of this podcast is a brand called Dads for America. Yes. We will put up a little
shout out to Dads for America.
Yeah, we will put up a little skit from them. But I mean, look, we're 2 American kids. I love America. I think we're still the best country in the world, no matter how bad it gets. Yep. I can never see myself running across a border to get to safety, and there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that do that every year just to get into America.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know, but it's way worse in other parts of the world. I've been to Europe, I've been to other places, and I've been there for 2 weeks and said, this isn't too bad. But I feel like here, man, we can do whatever we want. Like, what type of place can you live in where we could sit here and talk shit on the president that's running the entire country? We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Maybe. But like, what type of, that's the country I want to live in. You know what I mean? And all the bad shit that's going on in the country, we can get through. I feel like we gotta come through as a country and come together. And hopefully, look, that's why I said I want to have people that don't believe in the same things as me. You know what I mean? I'm very, like, on the capitalist side. You know, I want to build something for myself. So, I don't know. Off topic again. Off topic again. It's going to happen all the time.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
But, so yeah, I mean, look, I'm going for it. So today's society is something I've been wanting to talk about.
What do you mean by today's society there?
So, I feel like it's my generation too. So, I mean, I got friends that this is going to apply to. So, I'm sorry to you. If the shoe fits, wear it.
Wear it.
But, like, there's just so many losers, man. And so many, like, people that feel entitled. I seen somebody on TikTok that was saying, and I don't even have TikTok.
Right.
I seen it on Instagram that was complaining because there's meat emojis.
Oh.
And they don't eat meat. And it's like, that, who feels entitled to that aspect? And then the fact of the matter is, like, I can never see myself behind a camera complaining about something so minuscule and putting it out there, like, to the world. And then those same people, like, they want to get rich off of that. They don't want to work. Like, they don't have any work ethic.
Yeah,
like,
no, this generation has absolutely zero work ethic. Zero.
Luckily, I'm salary, but if I was hourly, I would be sleeping at my work. You know what I mean? Like, I want to put in the time, and I feel like it's probably our generation for sure.
Right.
Is they just don't want to work, man. And it's like, get off of your ass. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I hate it and I like it too because it's like, I'll beat all these motherfuckers.
I was just about to say, it's putting us way up there. Yeah.
And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like we somehow, there's a lot of kids I grew up with where, like I said, I grew up in Reading. I played outside kickball, baseball, football till the streetlights went down.
Right.
And some of them same kids that I was out there playing with are like, people want more but do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if I was working as a cashier somewhere, I wouldn't expect a raise next year if I'm sitting there working as the cashier still.
Yeah, you doing the same thing you did last year.
You know what I mean? You shouldn't want more and do the same thing. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if I'm like, I need a raise, it's because I'm out here busting my ass and I'm doing more than I was doing.
Right.
And I'm growing. And that's the thing is, like, so many people, back to what we said, they get content.
Yeah. And I was just about to say, confidence as well.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
They don't have the confidence to try different things and move out of that cashier position.
And I think a lot of it's probably video games. A lot of people, like, look, I played video games.
I was just about to say,
You're a gamer. You still play, but a lot of the kids we grew up with got stuck with that headset and microphone on in that AI life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's fun, man. I play video games. I get on a binger for like a week, 2 weeks.
I'm the same way. You know, I get a month and then I'm off.
But I'm also working. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, that's
video games after work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you gotta have priorities too. Like, my family's my priority. Like, I'm not gonna let anything get in the way of that.
Right.
But no, that was a good point. There's another thing with, like, today's society that I feel like people don't live in the moment that they're in.
They don't know.
So it's everybody's like, and I catch myself doing it with cell phones and videos and photos and all that.
You know?
But like, you go to a concert, man, like, if I go to a Drake concert, I don't want to have my phone out the whole time and live through that. Like,
record the whole thing.
Live in the moment you're in. Like, look, if the owner of your company, if you work at Wawa and the owner of Wawa walks in there, listen to what they have to say and live in the moment and take something from them. Like,
it's the little things, man. Open the door for the guy. Ask him if he needs a coffee.
Exactly.
You know? A lot of these people, you don't want to break out of that shell and do stuff like that, but it's recognized.
Yeah,
you know?
And especially like what you said, like I feel like that's way lost with today's society too. Like, just respect. Like,
Absolutely.
Like if an old lady's walking out of the store, hold the door for her.
I
like,
see people just shut them.
If there's a woman like loading her groceries into the back of the car
Wow.
by herself with 2 kids, like lift up the whole thing of water. You know what I mean? And people nowadays like just walk by it. But on the other hand of things, like there's also the women of today's society that if I go up and try and help her pick up the water, all of a sudden I'm trying to have sex with her. So that's another thing with today's society. Like it goes both ways, like man and female. Like I feel like to a point, men also can't be those masculine men because of you know the reactions
women.
that they get. Like it's not. Listen, I want to help out everybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm not out here trying to hook up with anybody. But if I see a woman loading up all these groceries, I'm gonna help her out. You know what I mean? And
especially she's an older woman.
Yeah, I mean, look. Some dudes come off creepy. Like I get it. You know
I get that as well.
But you gotta respect like a guy showing a woman respect.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just want to help out, man. At the end of the day.
That's it.
Do my good deed of the week.
Yeah, I did. Listen, speaking of good deed of the week, a couple days ago, I went out to Hibachi, and I went out. Yeah, you know the story. I went out with my wife, my sister-in-law. We took my son, and we went out with her grandparents. And you know, her grandfather was paying for Hibachi, and we had a couple sit with us, and they were talking about, you know, they have a 3-year-old son, and we were chatting, and I was, you know, I had an espresso martini. I was feeling all right, and look, Grandpa's paying for dinner, so I went over to the server and I said, hey, I'm going to pay for those 2 on the end, the couple that wasn't with the family.
Right.
And he said, oh, you're going to pay the bill? I said, no, I'm going to pay for the 2 on the end. You know, my grandfather has the rest of the bill. I was just trying to, you know. So the guy comes out. He says, nobody worry. He got the bill.
He put you on the spot.
So I covered the whole bill.
Yeah.
Look, I got to say, the people's reaction, though, the lady said, Is there a hidden camera? Like, nobody's ever done this, so it was cool. Like, it made me feel good. It made the bank account hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, look.
It was a good deed.
My wife's grandparents were saying, you know, oh, nobody ever pays for us. So, you know, it's holiday time. So hopefully that good karma comes around.
Absolutely.
So I got a couple notes on here, so I'm sorry if I'm looking at the computer a little bit here. One other thing that, I don't know if you want to speak on it a little bit, but it's something that I heard, these little quotes and things that I pick up that I try and live with them. So you are what you listen to and who you listen to. So what you listen to and who you listen to is what you'll become.
That's huge.
So I think like for me, I had like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went through this thing, man. I'm in my own head, and like I'm pretty good at saying like, get out of your head. You know what I mean? Like but I was like in it for a couple days. And I found myself listening to, like, country music, but, like, sad country music. And I think it kept me down in that, like, listen, if you're listening to these songs about heartbreak for the next 3 months, you're going to feel like your fucking heart's broken.
And the worst part is you can be in a completely loving relationship and still feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, feel like a piece of shit. And I think, like, not only the music, but, like, who you're listening to, too. So, like, pulling out another one, I heard that stallions don't run with turkeys. It's something I heard. So
what do you mean by that?
So I feel like I'm a stallion. And I feel like there's some people around me that are turkeys.
Always.
So if you're working, so one thing that they said when they said this was, if you keep the turkeys around the stallions for too long, the stallions are going to go somewhere else. Because they want to be surrounded by people like them. So luckily, like in the workplace that we're in, I feel like there's a group of people that are stallions, that are dogs, that are like, look,
absolutely,
wolves.
A wolf.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, so I do feel like I'm surrounded by those people. But look, if I was working somewhere and I was surrounded by turkeys, either I'm gonna be the ringleader of the turkeys, or I'm getting the hell out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just another little. I'm gonna be putting out these gems. And all these other podcasts are being taking my gems that I'm taking from somebody else.
Yeah.
So I got one more on here that I'll throw out there, and then
go ahead, let me hear
maybe we'll go into a little something. Maybe we'll take a little break and come back to it. But my last one here is, I heard someone say that you have to work every day to be better because you need your children to look up to you as their hero. So that hit me a little bit for sure. You have a younger sister, correct?
Yes, I do have a younger sister.
So my thing is like, if I'm not working better every day, if I'm not bettering myself every day,
Right.
somebody else is.
You're
No matter
right.
what. So I got another gem. Another gem.
Yeah, let me hear it.
So I try to better myself every day. So if I get 1% better every day, I'll get 365% better this year.
That's a fact.
So if somebody wants to get 1% better each week, you'll get 52% better each year.
Yeah.
So it'll take you 7 years to get to the percentage that I got to in 1 year because I'm willing to do it every day.
I believe it.
I'm ready to do it every day. And the reason why is because, like, I don't know, I feel like I got this fire in me. You know what I mean?
I got
like,
it in me too.
my dad grew up in the projects. I'll never let my family line go back there ever again.
No way.
That's my overall goal is to, like, then nobody's going to make me fail. Like, people criticize me at work because I pick up people's pants and you know, I'm always helping people out. But the way that I look at it is I'm never going to let somebody else decide my success.
Right.
I'm taking the bull by the horns and saying, you're not going to screw me. It ain't happening.
You know what kind of it's messed up is you could tell your goals to your family and stuff, and they laugh at you.
Yeah.
You know, they say that you're delusional or something like that.
So one thing that the owner of the company we work at told me, which is 1,000,000% true, is that nobody knows you more than you know yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, and my thing is too, you can if you really know yourself, you can really better yourself.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm like, look, I'm not the most fit person in the world. I've been in the gym the last 2 weeks every single morning.
Yeah.
And I know I wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? I got Crohn's disease. I wasn't taking care of myself. I went to the doctors. But I know me, and I know I'm going to stay going. You know what I mean? But when I wasn't going, I knew me, and I knew I wasn't going. You know what I mean? But you're the only person that can change you is you. And and one thing that I've always said too is that goes with every aspect of life. Like, the only person that can choose their happiness is you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a relationship that you're not happy in,
only you can change that.
Only you can change that.
Yeah.
And you may deal with back to the heartbreaker, and you know what I mean? You might deal with that, but how much do you really want your life to get better? And I feel like a lot of people say they want their lives to get better. They say they want to make more money.
Yeah.
But they do the same shit. You do the same shit. Keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results.
You're going to get the same results.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do the same results. So, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jordan over at the Growing Pains Podcast, and I just want to give a big shout-out to today's sponsor, Dads for America. Dads for America is a clothing brand founded in 2023 that's here to give thanks to American dads since 1776. Dads for America donates 4% of every purchase to Folds of Honor, which is a charity known for giving back to families of our fallen troops. Here at the Growing Pains Podcast, we believe America is still the greatest country in the world and will continue to support any brand that feels the same way. God bless America. It's time to get back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. Shout out to Dads for America.
I love it. God bless America. I got a good idea too. I think our first live podcast that we do, we should donate to Folds of Honor as well. Just they're our first sponsor. They donate to it. I love it. I think it's a good idea.
I love it. I love it.
But so this second half of the podcast, I think we should get back to stuff in the beginning. You know, pick it apart a little bit. There was something that you said. You know, you seem like you know a lot about real estate already. So I think I'm gonna pick you apart a little bit on that. If that's okay. If that's okay. So what type of home loan do you have on your home loan now? Like your house?
So actually, when I looked at hundreds of houses, I swear to God, for months I was looking at house after house after house, trying to find the right one that I really liked. And I came to the conclusion that I'm not gonna find the one that I like.
You gotta make it. You gotta make it.
You gotta build it to where you want it to be, right? So back to your question. I got a 302K loan on my house, and that practically means you pay for the house is involved. So I'm just gonna throw some numbers out there, right? So if you bought a house for $200,000, right? And say it's completely outdated, and you need to
most of the $200,000 houses are right now.
Pretty much all of them, right? So, a 302K loan is you buy the house for $200,000, but say you get approved for $250,000, right? You can take that $50,000 and put it into the house. It gets a little sticky. You know, you got to find a general contractor that's willing to work with you and remodel the house.
You have to have all that before you get the loan? Like,
yes.
You have to have proof of that?
You have to have the general contractor that you're going to use.
Okay.
And then also throughout the loan, so they start, they'll do one room at a time. And then the mortgage officer will come back to you and say, did you look at the house? Did you like the work that they did on the house? What
if you say no?
Then the general contractor has to go back and redo it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like I don't like none of it.
Right. I need everything redone.
It sounds like good. So one question I have is, so say you get the $200,000 house.
Yes.
You get the $50,000.
Yeah.
You remodel the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now can I just resell that house for $350,000?
That's where it gets sticky. So it's an FHA loan. Yes. You can instantly resell it and make a profit, but you won't make that much because they have this thing called capital gains. By the way, fuck capital gains. But hey,
screw all them taxes. I'm capitalist over here. Screw them all.
Yeah, screw them. But anyway, so yeah, they got this thing called capital gains, but you could also, so it's 2 years. You have to own the house for 2 years so you don't get hit with capital gains.
So you want to do it in a house that you could see yourself in for 2 years, realistically.
Yes,
so that you don't have to. You don't have to pay that penalty.
Yes. Yeah.
That the government gets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you recommend that for most people?
Oh my God, 100% recommend it. Like, zero bullshit. I looked for houses for 6 months every single day. You know, touring houses. Yep. You know, I feel like I was annoying my realtor because I'm going house to house to house to house to house. You know,
I never seen your house, I guess, before it was done. But I mean, your house now is.
Listen, my house was a hoarder house.
For a first house,
trashed.
For a first house, though, you can't ask for much more than what you got. Like that's good.
Yeah.
Especially when you buy it, 22, you said.
Yeah, 22 years old. Yeah.
You know, most people at 22 are in an apartment, and you know they got to share the washers and dryers and all that. So it's like, no, I never knew about that loan. So I mean, are there any? Do you know a lot about home loans?
Yeah.
Like, is there any other home loans that you'd recommend? Or
I mean,
that's the biggest one.
I think that's the best one, me personally.
Yeah.
But they have conventional, which is like you put down a big down payment. You don't get first time homeowners any help from the government or anything like that.
So I think that's what I have on my house because I didn't put any money down on my house.
So it's probably FHA then.
But I bought the house from my grandmother-in-law.
Okay.
She wanted to just give us the house, but we bought it from her. Mm-hmm. The money that we paid her, she basically gave back to us to put into the house.
Right. So you got your own 302K loan.
Yeah, I built it myself. So,
right.
But it was cool because, I mean, it was an outdated house for sure.
Right.
And we redid the whole thing. I'm putting an addition on my house in, I believe, April.
Okay.
Which should be fun. I'm putting a second floor family room so that we can have the parties and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, look, that's one thing that, like, you got to keep people around you, too, that know about these different things. Like, look, if I have any question about real estate, I know the guy I'm going to now. You know what I mean?
And if I don't know it, I know a guy that knows it.
Exactly.
You know?
So it's all about, you got to know people in life. So another thing that I wanted to talk about that we can get into a little bit is just, like, your overall outlook on drugs.
Oof.
Like, I mean, like, look. Alcohol, I don't know, we can say alcohol is a drug. I believe it is.
It is, 100%.
But
it is.
Everything, just overall outlook on it. I know mine, which I'll get into mine, but if you want to go first, go for it.
So, I have never done any drug other than smoke marijuana.
Okay.
That's it, you know? So, I don't really have a crazy outlook on it, but I can tell you this. I've been around people that do drugs, you know, and hate me or love me, but, in my book,
you're a loser.
I'm getting canceled for this.
You're a loser?
You're a drug addict forever. But that's just,
so this is our juicy shit here. So I've
never, listen, me personally, as a person, I have never met somebody who was seriously addicted to drugs and fully recovered. I've never seen that.
I love it because so that's what my outlook on drugs is different than yours.
Right. And I'm not saying that I don't want anybody to recover. Like I would love to see everybody
The
recover.
proof is in the pudding.
But me personally, in my perspective on everything, I know many drug addicts, and I've never seen not one
And
of
they're
them
still drug
recover.
addicts.
They're still drug addicts to this day.
Okay. So
You know?
for me, so I grew up, and I mean, my dad drinks alcohol, and he's not. Look, in society, they say if you have 2 drinks a day or whatever it is, you're an alcoholic. So in society, they say he's an alcoholic. I don't think he's an alcoholic, but
Yeah.
he drinks. You know what I mean? So
Everybody drink. Look,
my brother-
we're drinking right now.
Yeah, right?
You
But
know?
my brother was a drug addict, and I say it proudly was.
Right.
So, but look, it was hard.
And I wish nothing but the best.
I
for him.
love that.
Nothing
I
but the
love it. I
best.
appreciate you. And the thing is, like, I think you have to have the right people around you. So
At all times.
you have to have the right people around you at all times. My brother did go to rehab multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a good support system with me, my mom, you know what I mean? And
Right.
and listen, there's years of my life where I didn't have my brother around me because of the things he was going through. But now, I mean, he just got married about 6 months ago.
That's
He
awesome.
bought his own house. He got his
That's
own car.
fucking awesome.
He rock climbs all the time.
That's
And
awesome.
he
dude.
got his life together. So
Yeah.
that's the proof that, like, look, I didn't think he was, in all honesty, when he was deep into it, I didn't think he'd ever make it out either.
Right.
Because same for me, I never seen anybody,
Never
like the
seen
kids
it.
I grew up around that were doing that shit, same as you, are still
Yeah.
doing that shit.
It's same.
But no, I mean, my brother was the proof that, you know, you can make it out to the other side. And I think he really tells people, like, look, you can do this. And he
Yeah.
wants to be like that role
Right.
model for other people.
Now, I've seen people like do great like that for 10, 15, 6, 20 plus years. Do
Yep.
fantastic. Then something happens
it's
in
one
their
slip
life.
up. Yep.
Something happens in their life, and it gets really bad. And then next thing you know,
That's it.
they're back to
So
it.
I do think a lot of it too is like I do think there's something in the brain. Like I do think there's a addictive personality. Honestly, in all,
I agree.
I think I have one.
Yeah, I
which
got
is
one.
which is a big reason why. Like I've done drugs. I haven't done nothing hard.
Whoa,
you know what I
do by
mean?
drugs
I've
there?
done drugs, but I haven't done anything hard. I've smoked weed. I drink. I did a couple other recreational things.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm not out
got
here doing crack and shit
you. I
like
got
that.
you.
But
Yeah.
one thing that keeps me away from it, like we said earlier, is I know me. And like, look, I get on a binger where like I want Cool Ranch Doritos for the next 3 weeks. Like I want that snack. Like
Yeah.
that's the snack I want.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
right now I'm
that's
on a
that addictiveness.
right now I'm on a binger. I'm going to the gym every morning.
That's awesome.
That's a good.
That's
that's
a
a
great
great-
binge. Yeah.
So like one thing with my brother is when he got out of rehab and he got his life on track was he was into fitness. He was into working out. He's into rock climbing. Like that's his
That's a
thing.
big yeah.
And that's what I feel like that's something that people have to have. Like
They
you
gotta
have
keep
to
their
have
mind occupied at all times.
you have to keep your mind occupied, yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things too that hurts people too is like money and
That is
income.
a huge factor.
Especially when like
Huge factor.
when you're addicted to drugs and you go to rehab and you get out of rehab, like you normally don't have that setup or that income that you had when you went in.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to get back into that warp hole
That habit,
and
yeah.
things like that. And I mean, look, you get out of rehab and you want to go get 10 credit cards, 15 credit cards, and max them all out, and now you're done for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And I know you are not a fan of credit cards, right?
I'm not a fan of credit cards. Credit cards are no good, man. They literally, at the end of the day, you're putting all your money into it, and they're charging you on top of that.
I agree, especially to an aspect. I agree for young people. Look, I got my first credit card when I was 18.
No
I
good.
went to the mall
No
and maxed that bitch
no
out.
good.
I was fly as hell,
Yeah.
and I never paid that shit.
I hear you.
So
yeah.
I feel like when you're young, especially like back to today's society, like schools and shit like that, they don't teach
They
you
don't
about
teach you
money,
any
about
of that.
finance, about any of that. So it's like, it was so easy for me to get, I'm like, free money?
Free money,
What?
5 Gs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go crazy. You
But
know?
look, I have friends that use their credit cards for everything and got all these free flight points and all these free money that they're
Yeah.
getting back. So I do think like
they have their pluses.
you gotta
I can tell you that.
know you gotta know what you're doing.
Right.
You gotta know the credit card you get into.
Yeah.
Like you gotta it's like everything else in life. You gotta know.
You gotta know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
At least.
So my overall outlook on that is, if you're 18, don't get a credit card.
Do
If you're 19,
not get a credit card.
If you never had a credit card and you're 21, don't go get one because you're gonna max it out at the
Listen,
club.
if you're 21 and you don't have a credit card, you're doing great. Just stay where you at. Don't go get no credit cards.
That's a fact, because don't get one before your birthday.
Now, I'm not saying don't build your credit. I'm just saying build it in a different way. You know, credit cards are dangerous, dude.
For sure.
Next thing you know, you're 10 grand in the hole and don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, and the problem is too that they're definitely a trap, because they make you pay this minimum payment.
Yes.
Of whatever, $100.
90% of it's going to interest.
And then they hit you with the interest charge. That's $120.
Yep.
And you're paying $100.
Yep.
So now you owe $20 more.
Yep.
It never goes away. I mean,
it's never ending with credit cards.
It's definitely a bad rabbit hole that
yeah, it is.
I'm glad I got out of.
You have to be extremely mentally strong to be able to have a bunch of credit cards and not be able to, you know, not have to do all that.
So I do think there's like a switch you could flip in your life though, where say you were gonna buy everything on a credit card, and then you were gonna use the money that you got into your bank account and pay it off at the end of the month every month. But that's a complete switch in your life where you got to say, let me save this money.
But that's also not a good thing either, because I believe your credit card reports to the your credit bureau every 60 days, I believe.
Yep.
So if you pay off the credit card, you're not building any credit from that credit card.
True, but
you know what I mean?
You're getting all the perks.
You're paying it off great.
But you're getting the perks.
Yes,
I think that's the only way that makes sense, is if you're doing it if you're somebody that wants to travel, or if you're somebody like my in-laws, they use it for Disney. I've gone to Disney like 6 times in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And they use a Disney card and they pay it off and they get the points and I think in that aspect that makes sense. So I don't know. There's all these little I hope we can get somebody on the podcast that's like big on credit cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And can say how it works.
I'm always down to learn something. If I can learn something about credit cards, absolutely.
Yeah,
Please teach me.
Any money tips.
Any money tips.
Like I said,
me.
Which is something that can lead. Like I really wanted to talk about growing up. Like we kind of had the same political views, I believe.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, I believe.
Like last election, I was for Donald Trump. So and I gotta say, look, I don't support everything he does, everything he says.
I think that he's a little childish on Twitter and stuff like that.
And he makes some comments that a president shouldn't say, but he makes some comments that an everyday person will say, which is why I respect it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I kind of want to hear how you got to that aspect, like how you got into that view of your life and got that. Like growing up, did you always believe in that sort of thing, like family-wise?
Honestly, I was never really into politics until a couple years ago. When Donald Trump was in office, and I want everybody to sit back and think when I say this, right? I want everybody to think real deep and hard. When Donald Trump was in office, look, I don't know all the statistics. I don't know all the facts. You know, I don't know everything. But when Donald Trump was in office, life was easier to go about. Life was cheaper for fucking sure.
Now, like you're saying too, with numbers and stuff like that. Listen, I feel the same way as you.
Yeah.
Now, if he got another 4 years, I don't know if all of this inflation and stuff would have happened. It could have.
You're right.
But I can say it did without him.
Yes, it definitely did.
I definitely agree
him.
with what you're saying.
You know,
but what led you to that, like, belief in just that? There is solely what made you see, like, I should care about this.
Like, I was living by myself. I had my own apartment, you know, and I was doing everything by myself, and it was difficult. Or no, it wasn't difficult until
now.
Yes.
Until now.
Yes.
Which is basically inflation, which is,
you know, I used to be able to go to the grocery store and spend $250, fill the whole house for 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, if I spend $250 at Target and I go home with 12 things.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't add up.
You get 1 week of food.
I've seen multiple Instagram, TikTok, all that type of videos where it's people showing like the inflation. Like, look at this. A year and a half ago it was $3. Now it's $7.
Here's a grocery receipt from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Something like that.
It's insane. So like, but growing up, you didn't have any like political. You didn't
Honestly,
really care
I stayed
about
out of it. My mom grew up a Democrat.
Okay, same.
And my dad was a Republican.
Same.
For
split household.
As long as I can remember. So, you didn't
want to get in between them.
No, I wasn't trying to get in between them. And then, you're voting both sides because my mom voted Democrat, my dad voted Republican.
I think it's honestly like me and my wife are the same way. I don't know that I really side with one party. I definitely feel like I'm a capitalist.
For sure.
Work hard. Yeah. You'll get more. You'll make more money. I think just because you make more money, you shouldn't have to pay more in taxes.
You're right. Because
we talked about it before the episode about the new taxes in next year
and brackets coming
and all that's going out. Which I also can say I don't believe there should be loopholes for millionaires. I do believe you should
never get rid of it.
Maybe you should get a tax deduction if you have a certain amount of employees and things like that.
Yeah,
that should be tax deductions.
Right.
But look, I come from Reading, Pennsylvania, from the gutter, whatever you want to call it, the bottom. Like, I had peanut butter toast for dinner some nights, you know what I mean? So if I come from that and I end up making millions of dollars, I feel like I don't deserve, 15% overall.
You worked harder.
15% overall of $1 million is a lot of money compared to 15% on $30,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like either way, I'm paying my share, but because I built something and worked hard
10 times harder than everybody else.
Than the next person, than all these lazy people that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I know I'm outworking them, and when my friends, I have friends that see what I'm making and see the stuff I'm buying and see the stuff
I'm worse is when they hit you with the must be nice.
Yeah,
dude, I
got friends that say like, oh, your kid's having a better life than me. And it's like, man, I'm looking at like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian's kids and saying that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not looking at anybody close to me and saying like, damn, why can't I have that? Because I feel like anybody close to me, I feel like I can have that.
And anybody who does say that, that's a lot of negativity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the negativity is something that, like, dude, I don't allow it in my life.
No, not even a little bit.
And I don't, like I said about when we were talking about my brother, like, he wasn't in my life for a period of time because it was negativity. And, like, even my closest family, my mom and my dad, they got divorced in 2015. I love both of them. They're both happy.
Yeah.
They're both in happy relationships, thank God. But there was a point where my mom was the first one to get into a new relationship. And at the time...
And that'll mess you up a little bit.
So at the time, I was 19 years old. I've had my parents together my whole life.
Yeah.
So it was tricky for me. And I didn't talk to my mom I did not talk to my mom, but it was shaky with me and her for a period of time because I felt that tension and
how old were you when that happened?
I was like, I think I was 19.
Okay,
18, 19.
So I'm probably in the same boat with you. It's difficult because they're all you've ever seen.
You didn't know anything else.
You didn't know anything else.
I can say, like, I do feel like a lot of parents stay together for their kids.
Yes. And that's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah, so to be honest, I feel like it's probably not good, but I also didn't grow up in a split home.
Yes.
So, but the thing that happened to me when this happened was I felt like now I have a broken home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like, if a family splits, a dad and a mom split when a kid's younger, you know, they don't know any better.
They don't know too much.
They never had the home that could get broken. Yes. You know what I mean? So that was the hardest aspect for me was like,
I'm in the same boat.
This was my whole life, and now this is new for me. My mom lives in a different house. Like, who's this guy?
Listen,
you know,
when you're younger though, you look at it like there's some plus sides. You know, you get 2 Christmas.
For
you
sure.
Get 2 holidays.
I only got one. But no, that's like I think the hardest thing is just that initial transition of like.
Yeah,
your
especially
parents
when you know what's
people.
going on. Like, it's tough.
You're growing and you can see it, but that's like, I mean, look, when negativity's around me, I try to cut it out at all costs. Like, look, I have no drama in my life.
Yeah.
At all.
I'm a drama-free person.
Like,
I don't want to deal with no drama. I don't even want to hear about.
That's my thing. Is like I don't need it around me. It's not.
we work at the same place,
Yeah,
right?
there's drama.
There's drama.
Yeah, it's like high school sometimes.
When I go home, I don't want to hear about the
Exactly.
drama. You know, listen, I love the place that we work
Yep.
at, but
I love the place, I love the people, but
Yeah.
I don't want it to affect my home life.
I don't want it to bother me when I
Yeah.
go home. You know,
That's what I mean. I don't
like-
want to, and I just feel like it's like the drama, beef, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it, is
yeah.
just like, it just holds you down and holds you back. Like, honestly, look, I'm 27, I'll be 28 in March,
Yeah.
which March, we're going to have something
March, big. We're going
coming.
big in March. Real
something
big.
big coming. But, like, if it's not helping my family, helping my bank account, helping anything like that, I don't need it in my
Nah,
life. You know what I mean?
nah,
Like, I
you
want
don't
to do
need
things
that.
that are going to help me grow.
That's it.
I want to do things that are going to
And
make me better.
Some people will look at that as like a selfish aspect, but it's really not
Yeah.
selfish. You
I
want to
just-
grow yourself.
I just don't see how people, like, I know people that live and thrive off of, like, the drama in their life. And
Yeah.
it's like,
I know people.
I don't, like, what? I don't want to go to a bar and think, like, oh my God, am I going to see this person? Like,
Yeah.
nah.
Nah.
I go to a bar and I'm like, if you got beef with me, you got beef with the man in the mirror.
That's one-sided.
That is what, because guess what? I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what you did. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? You got beef with my friend, you two can have beef.
That's
but
between you two and you
I'm
two only.
good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think the negativity is definitely something that I keep out of my life. And sometimes it pokes in. You know, sometimes you get
And
worried about
sometimes
things.
it gets to you. Listen, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but sometimes that negativity can definitely get to you, and it'll
yeah.
definitely. I don't really know how to say this, but it will like
It definitely affects your everything.
your
I feel like,
mindset.
too.
It affects
It
your
affects
mindset.
your mindset. I think it, like, look, if I'm worried about drama, I'm not worried about,
Your
what's-
next move.
like I said earlier, like, live in the moment you're in, live where your feet are. Like, if
Yeah.
you're worried about something else, like, if I'm walking into a bar, I'm worried about having a good time
That's it.
with the people around me.
Mhm.
And if I'm not worried about, is this person going to walk in? I'm not worried about, oh my God, is that person going to say what happened last weekend? Like,
Right.
none of that, because I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm out here acting a fool sometimes.
Yeah,
but
we got a little spicy.
Yeah, but we have a good time, and like
Yeah.
that's what I'm also what I said. Like we said about our birthdays, we're gonna do hopefully a big event. Hopefully we get some people out there with us and they come
Really?
to see us.
Really big.
Which we'll talk about that once we get a little
Yeah,
deeper
we'll
here and
progress
closer.
into
It's
that.
coming in March for sure.
March.
For
Yeah,
sure.
We got 2 Marches.
Yeah.
Early March. March
Pisces
2nd.
gang
and
for sure.
what's that?
March 15th.
15th.
Hell yeah!
There we go.
No, we're gonna have a good time, but I think like that's what I want to do. Like I tried to make like a pact with myself because I talked to my buddy about what we're planning, and he's
Yeah.
like, is it worth it? Like we could have fun at the house. My thing is like for 2024, for the remainder of my life, I want to have good times.
Good
like if
times.
I'm gonna be
Memories.
drinking.
Good
I want to
memories.
make like I don't want to go out and just drink and get drunk and go
Yeah.
home. Like, look, we go to the Eagles tailgates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eagles playing tomorrow night. We don't know when this
Go
is coming out,
Birds!
but I hope they smoke the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But
Nah, it's not hope. They are
Yeah,
gonna
I
smoke
love
the
it.
Chiefs.
so we go to the Eagles tailgates. That's an event. Like I want to have the events. I want to like have something that's
sure.
planned for. Like I
For
mean,
sure.
look, there's things that pop up when. Look, we all show up. Holy shit, you're here, you're here, you're
Yeah.
here. That's the night. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
hell
But
yeah.
it's not like I'm not worried about, drinking and partying every Saturday,
Yeah.
every Sunday. Like I'm over that. But
Why are you partying every week?
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, look, I'm
There's
ready.
no reason to
I-
party every
I went
week.
to work yesterday. Today's Sunday. I went to work yesterday. I ain't got work.
You're a dog.
I don't
That's
got.
why.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, like I want something for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
you gotta want something for yourself. And this is gonna be an ongoing topic for sure.
Yes, it is.
Which
This is
there's-
going to be a huge ongoing topic.
And there's a lot of people that are probably gonna hate what we're saying and all that. No, I think the only
Love it
reason,
or hate it.
the only reason you can hate what we're saying is because you're stuck.
You're
You're
stuck.
stuck where and look,
Break through that shell.
yeah, that's my whole thing is like the only reason why you could dislike what we're saying is because you're stuck where you're at. And like I've been saying this whole podcast, we're like almost an hour in. The whole thing I've been saying is the only person that can change you is
It's you.
Listen, if
That's
your
it.
job sucks, fucking quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Quit your job. Go on to something better. You got to take a $10,000 pay cut. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? Go there, grind. You'll get that $10,000 back fast. You'll get $15,000 back.
Absolutely.
But if you're gonna live in shit misery, then don't complain about your life.
Yep.
Like, don't complain about something if you're gonna do the same shit.
If you're content, don't complain about it.
That's cool. And
not complain about
my
it.
thing is too, like, look, there's people that are content that are making $100,000. You know,
I'm not content.
I'm not content
I'm not
at 100, 200, 300, 400, 500.
I'm not. I don't think I'll ever be content.
So,
and you know what? A lot of people say like that's a bad way to be. I can't see it.
There's always more.
I have consistently done year after year. I've done better and better and better.
Same.
And I think that's because I want better.
You
I
have
want
that.
more.
You don't see a ceiling. Like, listen, I think I've been this way since I was young too, because I was in 8th or 9th grade. We had some presentation, and my quote of the thing was, "If the sky's the limit, why is there footprints on the moon?"
You damn right.
Like, there's
damn right.
there's always more, and that's the thing. Like, listen, my whole thing is you can be content making 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand. You can be content. It's not
wrong. You can live
wrong.
a great life off that
It's
too.
not wrong, but don't complain about the next man having more because you gave up on that big dream.
Mm-hmm.
You gave up on your big dream.
You did it.
Don't give up on your fucking big dream.
And you did that.
The only person that gave up on you is you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody, listen, tomorrow you could drop me off in the Sahara Desert and I'm going to make it out.
By the time you come back, that'll be an empire.
I will make it out. I said when I was making music, drop me in the ocean, I'll sell water to the whales.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it out because I have this mind frame of like, I'm not going to lose. And listen,
you're going to bring it home 10 out of 10 times.
I'm ready to I'm ready to, I think too, which you may agree on this too, which it's hard for me to say now having a son, but I think like struggle is something that everybody needs.
You're absolutely right.
Because like, I seen struggle like growing up, like the power would go out and I'd think there was a storm coming and that storm never came. Like it was just, we didn't pay the bill.
Yep.
And my thing is like, I've seen my parents paycheck to paycheck. Like both my parents are doing great now.
Yeah.
God bless, thank God. But I seen that struggle and I know damn well, like I don't want my kid to ever see that.
I don't want that.
But I feel like he needs to.
Listen, I've done it for a while. You know, you live paycheck to paycheck for a while.
For sure.
And I'm going to tell you right now, that sucks. And if you're content with it, you got to get out of that.
Yeah,
you got to break through that shell because that's not a way to live.
For sure.
You got to think one bad thing happened. You know, the fucking the pipe burst in the basement.
Yeah.
Next thing you know,
you're done.
You don't have the money to pay the mortgage. You know, you can't do that. You can't live like
it's
that.
hard. And the part that is tricky for me right now is like, I don't want my son to see struggle. But
completely understandable though.
He needs to see some struggle in his life because listen.
What did they say? They say the grandfather builds an empire.
Yep.
The son, or what was it? The grandfather walks to work. The son drives a Toyota to work. The grandson drives a Mercedes to work. And then the
great-grandson's walking again.
Great-grandson's walking again. You know,
exactly. It's because, like, I feel like when you don't have that struggle or you don't have that grit, it builds softness, which is like, which I can say probably accounts for our generation being the way they are. Because
you're absolutely right. Because,
listen, things have been good for, listen, all this stuff that's going on in America and politics and all that, dude, things have been so good. We were in Afghanistan, but listen, we haven't been in a world war in a long time. My grandparents, like my dad was in the military, he was in the army. My grandfather was in the military, he was in the army. Like they went through shit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, listen, obviously I love America. I support all the troops. I'm thankful for them every day.
Right.
But I mean, we're not in what they went through.
Yeah. And
I think that built the grit in the generation before us. And I think our generation doesn't have that grit because look, I hope we never obviously go into a world war, especially now with nukes and shit.
Yeah, but that's definitely scary stuff.
We gotta somehow, like, I watched a podcast the other day where it was actually a woman, and she said, you know, she had a talk with her 7-year-old son, and she said, listen, I can treat you like an ordinary kid, or I can treat you like a savage, and you can become something great. And the kid said, I want to be something great. And the thing is, listen, that doesn't mean your kid falls, you kick him while he's down. You know what I mean? You still show love and stuff like that to your kids. But like
you gotta be a little harder on them.
You gotta be a little tough on them. But like I'm not out here building babies. You know what I mean? Like I want to build the next generation to keep going and not have to go through the growing pains.
Absolutely. Going through the growing pains.
So no, I love it. I think episode 1, I think we're good, man. I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a guest on. Hopefully we have some people that view this that want to come talk to us.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
DM Growing Pains Podcast with 2 T's.
Yep. We'll be on every platform.
Yes.
We'll be on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We'll be on everything that you can watch podcasts on.
Absolutely.
And we're going to keep rolling. We'll keep you tuned in for what's going on in March for the live podcast.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, if you're going to tune in to any of them, that's the one.
I'm very excited. But no, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going up. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.